beseech you, I will grieve you into the night.
I will beseech you, I will grieve you into the night. You are my master, I am alone, I call unto you. You are my master, I am alone, I call unto you.
Because I will be with you till the end, Hussein. In my eyes there's always tears of pain.
Like a river flows for your love, Hussein. Every broken heart cries out your name, cries out your name.
روحي وقلبي لديك صلى الله عليك يا أبا عبد الله يا أبا عبد الله.
روحي وقلبي لديك صلى الله عليك يا أبا عبد الله يا أبا عبد الله. From your shrine I can't bear to stay apart. The flame of your love ignites my heart. Your name gives meaning to my soul. To you I raise my hands and call.
From your shrine I can't bear to stay apart. The flame of your love ignites my heart. Your name gives meaning to my soul. To you I raise my hands and call. Mere Mola ya Hussain Jaan, Mere Mola ya Hussain Jaan. Hussain Janam, Hussain Janam, my tears for you will never dry.
Mere Mola ya Hussain Jaan, Mere Mola ya Hussain Jaan. Hussain Janam, Hussain Janam, my tears for you will never dry.
For every step I take is to you, Hussein. Till my final breath, your love will remain.
Even if they take my feet and my hands, I'll come crawling to your holy land, to your holy land.
روحي وقلبي لديك صلى الله عليك يا أبا عبد الله يا أبا عبد الله.
روحي وقلبي لديك صلى الله عليك يا أبا عبد الله يا
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. I start in the name of Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful. Assalamu alaikum, dear children, dear parents, followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, and to the entire humanity. Dear children, I would request you to please go take wuzu if you have not done so. And it is very important that as we are taking wuzu, as we are purifying ourselves for the Majlis of Aba Abdullah alayhi salam, we should be very careful not to waste water. Dear children, today has been 7th of Muharram. On today, the water has been stopped on the family of Abu Abdullah, on the children in the camps of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. So when you take wuzu, when you say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, think of the cry of the children when they call out, Al-Atash, Al-Atash. Dear children, let's all put our hands together and start with Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. I start in the name of Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful. Let's all call out to Abu Abdullah. Assalamu ala al-Hussain, wa ala Ali ibn al-Hussain, wa ala awlad al-Hussain, wa ala ashab al-Hussain. Tonight we are here to learn about the tragedy of Hazrat Qasim alayhi salam. Let's all call out to the father of Hazrat Qasim alayhi salam. Let's all call out, Assalamu alayka ya Imam Hussain Mujtaba. As you know, Imam Hussain Mujtaba is our second Imam. So Hazrat Qasim is the son of Imam Hussain Mujtaba. And let's all call out to the mother, Assalamu alayki ya Bibi Umme Farwa. And let's all call out, Assalamu alayka ya Hazrat Qasim. Dear children, dear followers of Ahlul Bayt, let's all meet the young followers of Abu Abdullah. We have tonight with us Burhan, we have Sayyid Fawaz Muhammadi, we have Abid Ameli, we have Sayyid Aman Abbas Naqvi, and Hiba and Inaya. Let's all recite salawat for their well-being and for their parents' well-being. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum ajma'een. Dear children, I would like to now request Burhan to please recite Tilawat Pak, Quran Pak with Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن للمتقين مفازا حدائق وأعنابا وكواعب أترابا وكأسا دهاقا لا يسمعون فيها لغوا ولا كذابا جزاء من ربك عطاء حسابا رب السماوات وما بينهما الرحمن لا يملكون منه خطابا يوم يقوم والملائكة صفا لا يتكلمون إلا من أذن له الرحمن وقال صوابا ذلك اليوم الحق فمن شاء اتخذ إلى ربه مآبا إن ما قدمت يداه ويقول الكافر يا ليتني كنت ترابا. صدق الله العلي العظيم. اللهم صل وسلم وزد وبارك على رسول الله وآله الأطهار، على رسول الله وصحبه الأخيار.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وأجل فرجهم أجمعين. MashaAllah. Jazakallah Burhan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be pleased with your effort every single night. May Abba Abdullah be pleased with you and your family. May Allah make you be among the companions of Imam Mehdi alayhi salam. Jazakallah Burhan. Dear children, dear parents, as you know, tonight is the Shab of Jummah. Tonight we are going to recite Ziyarat Ashura, inshallah. And as you guys know, that it is very important that we recite Ziyarat Ashura, not only because it is this holy month, that it has the significance, but Ziyarat Ashura, one should recite and listen to it every single day in their lives. We have Sayyid Fawaz Muhammad with us tonight, and he is going to recite Ziyarat Ashura. And alongside him, I would request all of you to please recite and listen and read the translation of what Ziyarat Ashura really is. Very quickly, I would like to tell you guys what Ziyarat Ashura is, what is the significance. Ziyarat Ashura is recited because in this ziyarat, we send our salam on the martyrs of Karbala, Imam Hussain and his companions. We send curse on the enemy and on the killers. It points out the names of those killers, such as Sa'd, Ibn Sa'd, Shimr. So we send curse on them as they were the killers of Abu Abdullah. In Ziyarat Ashura, we are reaching out to Allah that we are friends of Imam Hussain. We are against the killers of Imam Hussain. We ask Allah to make us be as brave and on the true path as the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. We get closer to Allah through this ziyarat. You know how I keep saying to all of you to talk and reach out to each personality of Karbala? This ziyarat, this recitation is exactly doing that. We reach out to Imam Hussain. We say to him that we support him and we will send salam on him till the end of our lives up to the day of judgment. Did you know if you recite this Ziyarat Ashura for 40 days straight in line, you will get the chance to see the Imams in your dream, inshallah. May Allah give us all the tawfiqah to follow on this step. So let's all tonight call out and reach to Allah and the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. So now I will request Sayyid Fawaz to please start reciting Ziyarat Ashura alongside everybody else taking part.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. Today I will be reading Duai Faraj and Ziyarat Ashura. Allahumma Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajhum ajma'in. Allahumma kulli waliyaka al-Hujjat ibn al-Hasan salawatuka alayhi wa ala abahi في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وأينا حتى تسكنه أرزك توا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين آمين يا رب العالمين بحق محمد وآله طاهرين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله. السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله. السلام عليك يا خيرات الله وابن خيراته. السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين وابن السيد الوسيين. السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة سيدتي نساء العالمين. السلام عليك يا صار الله وابن ساره والوتر الموتور. السلام عليك وعلى الأرواح التي هلت بفنائك. عليكم مني جميعا سلام الله أبا المباغت وباقي الليل والنهار. يا أبا عبد الله لقد أزمت الرزيات وجلت وأزمت المصيبات بك علينا وعلى جميع أهل الإسلام، وجلت وأزمت مصيباتك في السماوات على جميع أهل السماوات. فلان الله أمة أسست الظلم والجور عليكم أهل البيت، ولعن الله أمة دفعتكم عن مقامكم وأزلتكم عن مراتبكم لا رتابكم الله فيها، ولعن الله أمة قتلتكم، ولعن الله ممهدين لهم بالتمكين من قتالكم. بريت إلى الله وإليكم منهم ومن أشيائهم وأتباعهم وأوليائهم. يا أبا عبد الله يا أبا عبد الله إني سلم لمن سالمكم وحرب لمن هاربكم إلى يوم القيامة. ولعن الله على زياد وعلى مروان، ولعن الله بني أمية كتبات، ولعن الله ابن مرجانة، ولعن الله عمر بن سعد، ولعن الله شمعا، ولعن الله أمة أسرجت وألجمت وتنقبت لكذلك. لأبي أنت وأمي لقد أزمى مسببك، فأسأل الله الذي أكرم مقامك وأكرمني بك أن يرزقني طلب سرك مع إمام منصور من أهل بيت محمد صلى الله عليه وآله. اللهم اجعلني عندك وجيئا بالحسين عليه السلام في الدنيا والآخرة. يا أبا عبد الله إني أتقرب إلى الله وإلى رسوله وإلى أمير المؤمنين وإلى فاطمة وإلى الحسن وإليك بموالاتك وبالبراءة ممن قاتلك ونسك لك الحرب، وبالبراءة ممن أساس الظلم والجور إليكم، وأبرأ إلى الله وإلى رسوله ممن أساس ذلك وبنى عليه بنيانه وجايا في ظلمه وجوره عليكم وعلى أشيائكم. بريت إلى الله وإليكم منهم وأتقرب إلى الله ثم إليكم بموالاتكم وموالاة وليكم وبالبراءة من أعدائكم والنسب لكم الحرب، وبالبراءة من أعدائكم والنسب لكم الحرب. حربكم وولي لمن والاكم وعدو لمن عاداكم، فأسأل الله الذي أكرمني بمعرفتكم ومعرفة أوليائكم ورزقني البراءة من أعدائكم أن يجعل معكم في الدنيا والآخرة، وأن يثبت عندكم قدم صدق في الدنيا والآخرة، وأسأله أن يبلغني المقام المحمود لكم عند الله، وأن يرزقني طلب سريك مع إمام هي زهير نطق بالحق منكم، وأسأل الله بحقكم وبالشأن الذي لكم عنده أن يؤتي يعني بمصيبكم أفضل ما يؤتي بمصيبته مصيبات، كما أعظمها وأعظم رزيا في الإسلام وفي جميع السماوات والأرض. اللهم اجعلني في مقامي هذا ممن تناله منك صلوات ورحمة ومغفرة. اللهم اجعل محياي محيا محمد وآل محمد ومماتي ممات محمد وآل محمد. اللهم إن هذا يوم تبركت به بنو أمية وابن كلات القبادل نبني على لسانك ولسان نبيك صلى الله عليه وآله في كل موطن وموقف وكافأ فيه نبيك صلى الله عليه وآله. اللهم لعن أبا سفيان ومعاوية ويزيد بن معاوية عليهم منك اللعنة أبد البدين. وهذا يوم فرحت به زياد وعلى مروان بقتلهم الحسين صلوات الله عليه. اللهم فزائف عليهم اللعنة منك والعذاب العليم. اللهم إنا أتقرب إليك في هذا اليوم وفي وموقف هذا وإيا مهيا وبالبراءة منهم وعلانة عليهم وبالموالاة لنبيك ولنبيك عليه وعليهم السلام. دنياتي 100 times. اللهم أن أول ظالم ظلم حقا محمد وعلى محمد وآخر تابي له على ذلك. اللهم عن الإصابات الله سجهدات الحسين وشيعت وبايت وتابعت على قتله. اللهم عنهم جميعا. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليك منا سلام الله أبا وباقي وباقي الليل والنهار ولا جعله الله آخر العهد من لزيراتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. دنيتي 100 times. اللهم خص أنت أول الظلم بالله مني وابدأ به أول ثم الثانية والثالثة والرابعة. اللهم أن يزيد خميا وأن عبيد الله بن زياد وابن مرجانة وعمر بن سعد وشمعا ولا أبي سفيان وعلى زياد وعلى مروان إلى يوم القيامة. Put your head to sajda. اللهم لك الحمد حمد الشاكرين لك على مصابهم. الحمد لله على عظيم رزيات. اللهم ارزقني شفاعة الحسين يوم الورود وثبت لقدام الصدق عندك مع الحسين وأصحاب الحسين الذي بذلوا مهجاهم دون الحسين عليه السلام.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وأجل فرجهم أجمعين. MashaAllah. Jazakallah Sayyid Fawaz Muhammadi. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be pleased with you and complete it in its complete form and accept it in its complete form, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make you be among the companions and followers of Imam Mehdi salam in its complete manner, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be pleased with you and give health to you and to your entire family. Jazakallah Sayyid Fawaz Muhammadi. Jazakallah. Dear children, dear sisters and brothers, now we have with us Abida Meli, who have prepared a speech. She is going to talk about her feelings when the month of Muharram comes. So please recite salawat for her well-being. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum ajma'in. Start with Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, please, Abida.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum, ya Aba Abdullah. Assalamu alaikum, ya Ibn Rasulillah. Assalamu alaikum, ya Imam Mehdi alayhi salam. Assalamu alaikum to everyone. Tonight I will share with you about my feelings as the month of Muharram comes. I would like to give this hadiyah to Imam Mehdi alayhi salam. Every year when the month of Muharram comes, I get mixed feelings. When I was small, I used to get excited for Muharram, as I would go to Majlis, to the centers and see my friends. I did not understand why people were crying. I did not understand why people did martyrdom. But because everyone was doing it, I also did it. One day I asked my family, why do you cry at Majlis? Why do people wear black clothes? Why are men and women separate? So they explained to me that, number one, people cry at Majlises as the tragedy of Karbala is talked about. People cried how lonely Imam Hussain was when the enemies killed him. People cried because they were not present at Karbala to help the Imam. Number two, people do martyrdom by beating their chests as a sign of support and remembrance of Imam Hussein's suffering. Number three, people wear black clothes that are simple but clean when going to Majlis. Wearing black clothes is from the Sunnah tradition of Prophet Muhammad, who wore black clothes to mourn over the death of his uncle Hamza. Number four, men and women are separate in majlises and even other times, so do they do not get distracted by each other. Having men and women separate means they can pay close attention to the majlises and main purpose of Imam Hussain. Now, very quickly, I want to share my experience when I went to Karbala. I thank Allah for giving me this opportunity. It was very hard for me to touch the zari of Imam Hussain, but my sister said, do not push anyone to get closer. Be patient. I waited for my turn and then I touched and kissed the holy shrine. Inshallah, we all get the opportunity to visit the holy shrine of Imams and VPs. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad wa ajir fa ajhu wa ajma'in.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وأجل فرجهم أجمعين. Jazakallah Abdameli. Probably by the surname you have recognized, she is my younger sister. So I'm very proud of you. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept this effort of yours, Abida, tonight. Not only as a family member, we are so proud of you, but may Imam Mehdi be pleased with you. MashaAllah, Abida. Jazakallah. Dear children, dear sisters and brothers, now we have with us Sayyid Aman Abbas Naqvi, who have prepared a very nice speech, and he is going to share that with all of you. Please recite salawat for his well-being and for his family's well-being. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum ajma'in.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today we are here to commemorate the martyrdom of Hazrat Qasim ibn al-Hassan alayhi salam, who laid down his life in the battle of Karbala fighting the evil forces of Yazid ibn Muawiyah. Hazrat Qasim was born to Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba ibn Ali alayhi salam, the second Imam, and his mother Farwa. He was born on 7 Shaban 47 al-Hijri. When Imam Hussain alayhi salam prepared to leave Medina in the month of Rajab 60 al-Hijri, Qasim's mother Farwa asked Imam Hussain to take her and Qasim with him. Imam Hussain agreed. Hazrat Qasim, although only 13 years old, had, like his cousins On and Muhammad, had learned fencing from Hazrat Abbas salam and Hazrat Ali Akbar salam. Hazrat Abbas was very fond of Hazrat Qasim. On the night before Ashura, when Imam Hussain salam was passing by Farwa's tent, he heard Qasim say to his mother, "Mother, tomorrow Uncle Abbas, Ali Akbar, and I will defend Imam Hussain. Mother, if I get killed, please do not weep for me." Farwa replied, "My son, although I dearly love you, I shall not weep for you. Nothing will make me prouder than to see my son give his life for Islam." When Imam Hussain alayhi salam heard this conversation, he prayed to Allah to bless Hazrat Qasim and Farwa. On Ashura day, after On and Muhammad had fallen in the battlefield, Hazrat Qasim came to Imam Hussain and begged for permission to go and fight. Twice Imam Hussain refused, saying, "Qasim, you are young and your mother's only son." When she saw her son so disappointed, she remembered that just before he died, Imam Hassan alayhi salam had written a letter, given it to Farwa, saying, "If you ever find Qasim in difficulty, give him this letter." She gave Hazrat Qasim the letter. In the letter it was written, "My son Qasim, a day will come when my brother Hussein will be facing an enemy army of tens of thousands. That will be the day when Islam will need to be saved by sacrifice. You must represent me on that day." Hazrat Qasim read the letter. He smiled. He rushed to Imam Hussain and gave him the letter. After reading the letter, Imam Hussain said, "Oh my brother's son, how can I stop you from doing what your father wanted to do?" Imam Hussain tied Imam Hassan's turban on the head of Hazrat Qasim and helped him mount on his horse. As Qasim was riding out, Imam Hussain said, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi rajiun. Hazrat Qasim said, Oh my uncle, do not be upset. I do not fear death. Death for Islam will be sweeter for me than honey. Hazrat Qasim came to the battlefield. He was very handsome boy. When the enemy saw him, they began to murmur, How can we kill someone whose face is shining like moon? In a loud and clear voice, Hazrat Qasim introduced himself and cried out for a challenge for single combat. He killed several warriors who came forward. When the enemy saw his bravery and realized that they could not possibly overpower him in single combats, they came from behind and one of them hit Hazrat Qasim on the head with a sword. Hazrat Qasim tried to go on fighting, but alas, he was so young and he was so thirsty. He fell from his horse, crying out, Ya Maho, accept my last salams. Hazrat Imam Hussain alayhi salam and Hazrat Abbas alayhi salam rode out. The soldiers tried to stop them. When finally they came to where Hazrat Qasim had fallen, they saw a dreadful sight. Hazrat Qasim's body had been trampled by the horses of the soldiers who had tried to stop Imam Hussain and Hazrat Abbas. It is reported that Imam Hussain alayhi salam took off his abba, spread it on the ground, gathered the pieces from the ground as one gathers flowers from a garden. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi rajiun. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وأجل فرجهم أجمعين. Jazakallah, mashallah, Sayyid Aman Abbas Naqvi. Mashallah, really nicely explained the tragedy that took place. If I may ask you, how old are you, Sayyid Aman Abbas?
I am 10 years old.
10 years old, mashallah. Mashallah. In many historians, in many narrations, it is stated that Hazrat Qasim was 13 years of age. You know, you're soon about to reach that age. You're soon about to become 13 of years. And I want to ask you, do you think you're ready at the age of 13 to be as brave as Hazrat Qasim as he was? Or do you think you still have a long way to go to meet and be as brave?
Hazrat Qasim. I'm ready to be brave as Hazrat Qasim.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. May you be among the companions of Imam Mahdi alayhi salam, because Imam Mahdi needs people like yourself, children of your age, just like Hazrat Qasim alayhi salam. So Jazakallah, MashaAllah, Sayyid Aman Abbas Naqvi. May Allah accept this effort of yours tonight. May Allah bless you and your family. Jazakallah, MashaAllah. If I could please request everybody to recite a salawat for the reappearance of Imam Mahdi alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum ajma'in. Please recite another salawat for your well-being, for your family's well-being, that Allah takes us out of this virus. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. May Allah forgive all our mistakes and sins. Allahi Ameen. Dear children, now we have with us Hiba and Anaya, who have prepared a noha for all of you guys. Please recite another salawat for their well-being and for their parents' well-being. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Hiba. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Anaya. I am 8 years old and I am 6 years old. Ba wafa ya Abbas, ba wafa ya Abbas, 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 Abbas. महफूज काफिला है अब्बास से जो जिंदा है अभी दूर करबला है अभी दूर करबला है अभी दूर करबला है अब्बास से जो जिंदा है इस नूरी कारवां में नूरी अमारियां है नूरी अमारियों में नूरी सवारियां हैं नूरी सवारियां हैं सर पर अलम खुला है अब्बास से जो जिंदा है अभी दूर करबला है अभी दूर करबला है अभी दूर कर کربلا ہے، وہاں سے جو زندہ ہے، آبا سے جیسا بھائی سالار کارواں ہے، بولے حسین مجھ کو پھر کوئی غم کہاں ہے، پھر کوئی غم کہاں ہے، ہر غم کی یہ دوا ہے، عباس سے جو زندہ ہے، ابھی دور کربلا ہے، ابھی دور کربلا ہے، ابھی دور کربلا ہے، عباس سے جو زندہ ہے، زینب حیا کی ملکہ کلثوم اور رقیہ، لیلا رباب فروا، کبرا سکینہ فضہ، کبرا سکینہ فضہ، ہر بی بی باردہ ہے، ابدا سے جو زندہ ہے، دور کربلا ہے، ابھی دور کربلا ہے، ابھی دور کربلا ہے، عباس سے جو زندہ ہے، اصغر سے کھیلتی ہے، خوش ہے بہت سکینہ، جب چاہتی ہے سونا ہے بابا جاں کا سینہ، ہے بابا جاں کا سینہ، غم سے نہ آشنا ہے، ابا سے جو زندہ ہے، ابھی دور کربلا ہے، ابھی دور کربلا ہے، ابھی دور کربلا ہے، ابا سے جو زندہ ہے، عباس 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 عباس، اللہم صل علی محمد وعلی محمد وعجل فرجہ۔
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم أجمعين. MashaAllah. Jazakallah hiba and inaya. May Hazrat Abbas accept this effort of yours. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first and foremost accept this amal, this really nice recitation of Noha. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make you be among the companions of Imam Mahdi alayhi salam. May Allah give all of us the tawfiqat, to continue on this pathway, on the path of truth. Jazakallah, mashallah, hiba and inaya. Really proud of you. Jazakallah. Dear children, dear sisters and brothers, now I am going to play a video with all of you now in terms of the tragedy that took place on the 10th of Muharram. As we are getting closer to the 10th of Muharram, on Sunday is going to be Ashura, guys. And Hazrat Qasim alayhi salam was shaheed, was martyred. All of the companions of Imam Hussain, including Imam Hussain, were martyred on 10th of Muharram, which we call Ashura. But each night we are going through the different personalities, Masaib, the tragedy. So when we reach to the 10th of Muharram, you guys know what's going to happen. You guys feel the pain of Imam Hussain carrying those bodies. He sends salam, he says goodbye to them and sends them off to the battlefield. Later he carries them in his arms and brings them back to the tents to show the mothers that their son has been sacrificed. The son has been martyred for Islam. Please send salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum ajma'in. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum ajma'in. Let's all send our salam to Hazrat Qasim alayhi salam and reach out to him and say, oh Hazrat Qasim, help us. We are here tonight to mourn and cry on your tragedy. But we don't just want to cry tonight. We want to reach out to you, be really close to you from tonight onwards. Ya Hazrat Qasim.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Hazrat Qasim was the youngest son of Imam Hussain. Hazrat Qasim was born in 47 AH 3 years before his father was martyred. When Imam Hussain prepared to leave Medina in the month of Rajab 60 AH, Hazrat Qasim's mother, Farwa, asked Imam Hussain to take her and Hazrat Qasim with him. Imam Hussain agreed. Hazrat Qasim, although only 13 years old, had, like his cousins On and Muhammad, learned fencing from Hazrat Abbas and Hazrat Ali Akbar. Hazrat Abbas was very fond of Hazrat Qasim. On the night before Ashura, when Imam Hussain was passing by Farwa's tent, he heard Hazrat Qasim say to his mother, "Mother, tomorrow Uncle Abbas, Ali Akbar, and I will defend Imam Hussain. Mother, if I get killed, please do not weep for me." Farwa replied, "My son, although I dearly love you, I shall not weep for you. Nothing will make me prouder than to see my son give his life for Islam." When Imam Hussain heard this conversation, he prayed to Allah to bless Hazrat Qasim and Farwa. On Ashura day, after On and Muhammad had fallen in the battlefield, Hazrat Qasim came to Imam Hussain and begged for permission to go and fight. Twice Imam Hussain refused, saying, "Qasim, you are young and your mother's only son." Hazrat Qasim was very disappointed. He went to his mother. When she saw her son so disappointed, she remembered that just before he died, Imam Hussain had written a letter, given it to Farwa, saying, "If ever you find Qasim in difficulty, give him this letter." She gave Hazrat Qasim the letter. In the letter it was written, "My son Qasim, a day will come when my brother Hussain will be facing an enemy army of tens of thousands. That will be the day when Islam will need to be saved by sacrifice. You must represent me on that day." Hazrat Qasim read the letter. He smiled. He rushed to Imam and gave him the letter. After reading the letter, Imam Hussain said, "Oh, my brother's son, how can I stop you from doing what your father wanted you to do? Bismillah, go. Allah be with you." Imam Hussain tied Imam Hassan's turban on the head of Hazrat Qasim and helped him mount his horse. As Hazrat Qasim was riding out, Imam Hussain said, "Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un." Hazrat Qasim said, "Oh, my uncle, do not be upset. I do not fear death. Death for Islam would be sweeter for me than honey." Hazrat Qasim came to the battlefield. He was a very handsome boy. When the enemy saw him, they began to murmur, "How can we kill someone whose face is shining like the moon?" In a loud and clear voice, Hazrat Qasim introduced himself and cried out a challenge for single combat. He killed several famous warriors who came forward. Every time he killed an enemy, Hazrat Qasim would stand on his stirrups, look behind, and wave to Hazrat Abbas, just as a pupil would seek approval of his teacher on any assignment. Hazrat Abbas would proudly wave back. When the enemy saw his bravery and realized that they could not possibly overpower him in single combats, they came from behind, and one of them hit Hazrat Qasim on the head with the sword. Hazrat Qasim tried to go on fighting, but alas, he was so young and he was so very thirsty. He fell from his horse, crying out, "Ya Ammu, accept my last salams." Imam Hussain and Hazrat Abbas rode out. The soldiers tried to stop them. When finally they came to where Hazrat Qasim had fallen, they saw a dreadful sight. Hazrat Qasim's body had been trampled by the horses of the soldiers who had tried to stop Imam Hussain and Hazrat Abbas. Hazrat Abbas was so angry when he saw this that he began to shake with fury. He took out his sword and wanted to attack the enemy. Imam Hussain restrained him, saying, "Abbas, have patience, dear brother. Do not give them an excuse for saying that we attacked them first." Imam Hussain took off his abba, spread it onto the ground, and gathered the pieces from the ground as one gathers flowers from a garden.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وأجل فرجهم أجمعين. يا حضرة قاسم، يا حضرة قاسم.
We are sorry, O Hazrat Qasim, we were not there to help you, to support you. We are sorry. Dear children, there are so many lessons we learn from Hazrat Qasim, not only that he was such a brave warrior, he fought for truth. One of the biggest lessons that I understood tonight is the importance of getting permission from the parents of young children. As you heard from Syed Ahmad Abbas and just recent video which Sayyidah Hania Naqvi explained, that how Hazrat Qasim went to the tent of Aba Abdullah and asked, "Oh Aba Abdullah, oh uncle, give me permission to go to the battlefield so I can fight. I don't have any more patience seeing so many get killed. Let me go." Imam Hussain kept saying no. Imam Hussain could have just said, "Go Qasim, go. You're getting martyred, go for it." But why was Aba Abdullah stopping him? Why? He was ready to sacrifice his life. Then why didn't Imam Hussain straight away say, "Go, fight"? You are guys going to learn tonight that Imam Hussain could have straight away given Hazrat Qasim the blessing to go and be martyred, as we all want to be martyred. But Imam Hussain was showing all of us tonight that there is no force and no pressure in Islam. It is a message for us that even though Hazrat Qasim was his family member, was the son of his brother Imam Hussain, Imam Hussain was still not going to let him fight until the permission was given by the mother and the father. Dear children, dear parents, now we have with us Tijani brothers. We have Abbas Tijani who have put a lot of effort for tonight's Majlis and have pre-recorded the Masayib of Hazrat Qasim alayhi salam with Noha followed by it. Please send a salawat for their well-being, that they keep putting effort for the Majlis, for all of you, that you learn about the sacrifice that took place on 10th of Muharram. Please recite salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum ajma'in. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum ajma'in. Dear children, inshallah the Tijani brothers are going to join us live on Shab-e Ashur. Please send another salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum ajma'in.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أعظم الله أجورنا وأجوركم بمصابنا وبالأحرار سيد الشهداء أبي عبد الله الحسين عليه الصلاة والسلام. Tonight marks one of the most heartbreaking of all Masaibs that took place on the day of Ashura on the land of Karbala, 61 AH. You find that Imam Hussain alayhi salam's caravan contains a young boy who was 13 years old. Now many of you watching may be 13 years old yourself. Try to imagine and put yourself in the shoes of this young individual from the Ahlul Bayt. You find that when Imam Hussain alayhi salam's caravan leaves from Medina, this young boy runs so that he can be with his uncle for the duration of this trip. You find as they arrive in Karbala and the day of Ashura begins, he sees all the companions leaving one after the other. And he comes and asks his uncle, "When will I be given permission to go and sacrifice my life for you?" And his uncle keeps saying, "Not now, your time is not now. Go back to your mother." Every time he sees one of the family members of Imam Hussain alayhi salam go and sacrifice their lives for Imam Hussain alayhi salam, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you find that he comes and he says, "Uncle, I can see that my cousin has gone, or I can see that one of my relatives has gone. Why have you not given me permission to go yet?" And Imam Hussain alayhi salam says to Qasim, "Oh Qasim, just have patience, your time is not now." And then he goes back to his mother's tent and he again laments that Imam Hussain alayhi salam hasn't given him permission. He sees a few more of the family of the Ahlul Bayt go and give their lives for Islam, and he comes back to his uncle And his uncle, he says, "Oh, uncle, please give me permission to go and fight." And Imam Hussain alayhi salam says something heartbreaking. He says, "Oh, Qasim, whenever I missed my brother Hassan, I would just look at you and I'd be reminded of him and my heart would feel some tranquility. How can I let someone who looks like my brother go to their battlefield and give their life for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to attain martyrdom?" You find at this point Qasim goes back to his mother and says, "Oh, mother, my uncle Hussein is not giving me permission to go to the battlefield. Please do something to convince him because I'm beside myself. I've seen martyr after martyr and member of my family and another member of my family go and give their lives up for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for Imam al-Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam, for martyrdom. Please, won't I get this opportunity? Please convince Imam al-Hussein." At this moment, Farwa, the mother of Qasim, remembers that at the time when her husband, Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam, was passing from this world, he gave her a small amulet. And he said, "Oh Farwa, oh Farwa, when our son Qasim is in the most difficult moment in his life, tell him to open this amulet and always keep this amulet with him so that he can open it at a time when he's finding it the most difficult." At that point, Farwa gets the amulet and she opens it and she looks inside and she sees the blessed handwriting of Imam al-Hassan alayhi salatu wasalam. She kisses it and she says, "Oh Qasim, take this letter to your uncle Hussein." Qasim leaves the tent and he runs towards his uncle and he says, "Look, uncle, I've got this letter from my father addressed to you." Imam Hussain alayhi salam opens it and sees the blessed handwriting of his brother Hassan, who he misses so dearly. You have to imagine Imam al-Hassan and Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam grew up together. Imagine yourself and your siblings, your brother or your sister, who you are so close to, you're growing up together. And then comes a point where you are separated, where one of you is separated from the other brother or the other sister. Imagine how heartbreaking that would be. In just the same way, Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam really, really missed his dear brother Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam. So it said that when Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam is presented this letter from Qasim, which contains the blessed handwriting of Imam al-Hassan alayhi salatu wasalam, you find that Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam, he kisses the letter and he reads it with tears in his eyes. And it says, "Oh my brother Hussein, there will come a day where you will be facing your most difficult trial, your most difficult tribulation. At this point, there will be a special mark on your life, and there will come a day where you will have to give your life to save religion. Oh, my brother, I won't be with you on that day, though I wish I could have been with you on that day, but I won't be with you on that day. So in place of me, please accept this 13-year-old boy, Qasim, as a sacrifice on my behalf, and oh Hussein, please don't turn him down." It said at this point, Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam says, "Come Qasim, now is your time to go to the battlefield. But just tell me this one thing before you go. How do you view death?" Imam Hussain alayhi salam recognizes and realizes that this is a 13-year-old boy. It could be that he may be scared of death. He wanted to make sure that he gave him some form of solace. So he said, "Oh Qasim, how do you see death?" Then Qasim responds at this point and says, "Oh my uncle, for me, death on the right path is sweeter than honey." Imam Hussain alayhi salam gives a wry smile and he puts Qasim upon the horse. He dresses him in the amama of his father Hassan and he dresses him in the best of armors and in the best of clothing. He picks him up and helps him onto the saddle of his horse and he watches Qasim go. And Qasim fights and he gives some famous lines of poetry. And I don't have time to cover that today, but when you get an opportunity at home, go and read some of the poetry Qasim alayhi salam, this 13-year-old boy, recited on the plains of Karbala to the opponents that would come. One after another, opponents are coming and Qasim is finishing them and sending them to Jahannam. You have to remember, Qasim is someone who was raised by Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas in terms of his warriorship and in terms of his might and his bravery and his strength. One after another, an enemy is coming and Qasim is finishing them off. Another enemy comes, Qasim finishes them off. One enemy sends two of his children both at the same time, and Qasim does a maneuver in such a way that he kills them both at exactly the same time. Qasim is at the very peak of his warriorship. He's at the very peak of his confidence. It said at this point, the enemies realized that this is someone who's trained by Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. There is no way that they will be able to finish him in one-to-one combat. So after sending the two brothers together, they then send a group of individuals, and they all start circling Qasim. And some of them start throwing things at him. Some of them come and start stabbing him with spears and swords. And you find that this 13-year-old boy begins to rock on the horse, and eventually he falls to the ground. You find as Qasim begins falling to the ground, he calls out to his uncle, Ya Aba Abdullah, alaykum minni salam. That, oh, my uncle Hussain, I bid you my final salutations. At this point, Hussein's heart trembles because he knows that this is someone who has been sent as a shabir, as a mirror individual of his brother Hassan. It's almost as if he can feel his brother Hassan falling again. After his last martyrdom, he's falling again and he's being martyred again. Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wasalam, with his trembling heart, runs to the battlefield and he carries his sword with him to try to help pass him back. It is said that when the enemy see Imam Hussain alayhi salam running towards them, it is said that at this point they become scared because everyone is frightened of this son of the Lion of God. It's said that as they're running away, they begin to lose their way. The horses start dashing in one direction when the person riding the horse wants them to move in another direction. In that confusion, it's said that one horse runs over the body of Qasim and another and another and another. And as Imam Hussain alayhi salam arrives at the body of Qasim, he sees that Qasim's body from the hooves of the horses has been cut into 1,000 pieces. And it's said at this point, Imam Hussain breaks down near the body of Qasim alayhi salam and says, Oh Qasim, you called me with your final sound. One of the most greatest griefs that I will die with is that you called me, that I could not get to you in time to give you any salvation, any support, or any peace in your final moments. It's said a bit further on in the Tariq of Karbala, in the history of Karbala, there comes a point where Imam Hussain alayhi salam is entirely by himself. It's said that at this point he takes the body of Ali al-Akbar and the body of Qasim. He sits in between the body of Ali al-Akbar and the body of Qasim. On one side, he has that Aba in which he's gathered the pieces of Qasim. And on the other side, he's got the body of Ali al-Akbar. It's said that Hussain alayhi salatu wassalam, he sits down in between these bodies. He looks around. He's by himself. Abul Fadl al-Abbas has given his life. He's already buried his 6-month-old Ali al-Asghar. These are the final moments of Hussain. You find before he goes to the battlefield, he's just wandering around. And at that point, he sits between the body of Qasim and Ali al-Akbar. He puts one hand on the body of Qasim and one hand on the body of Ali al-Akbar. At this point, he echoes a very, very heartbreaking cry. Putting one hand on the body of Qasim, one hand on the body of Ali al-Akbar, he looks up at the skies and he screams, Wa ghurbata! Oh my Allah, I am completely destitute today. Everything I had, I've given for you. Inshallah, let's all rise for the martyrdom of Qasim. Qasim ke janaze pe kya dard ka manzar hai. Qasim ke janaze pe kya dard ka manzar hai. Sab khoon mein bhara sehra पोशाक दरीदा है. सब खून में भरा सेहरा पोशाक दरीदा है. पामाल बदन सारा है, पामाल बदन सारा और खाक का बिस्तर है. कासिम के जनाजे पे क्या दर्द का मंजर है. कासिम के जनाजे पे क्या दर्द का मंजर है. टुकड़े था जिगर जैसे ऐ मौला हसन तेरा. टुकड़े था जिगर जैसे ऐ मौला हसन तेरा. टुकड़ों में यहाँ मौला, हाय टुकड़ों में यहाँ मौला. वैसे तेरा दिल पर है. कासिम के जनाजे पे क्या दर्द का मंजर है. قاسم کے جنازے پہ کیا درد کا منظر ہے. ماں کہتی تھی اے قاسم اے لال کہاں جاؤں. ماں کہتی تھی اے قاسم اے لال کہاں جاؤں. گھیرے ہوئے خیموں کو ہائے گھیرے ہوئے خیموں کو کفار کا لشکر ہے. قاسم کے جنازے پہ کیا درد کا منظر ہے. قاسم کے جنازے پہ کیا درد کا منظر ہے. ایک گٹھری میں لاتے ہیں شبیر 11 سے. ایک گٹھری میں لاتے ہیں شبیر 11 سے. آواز فلک آئی ہائے آواز فلک آئی لختے دل شبر ہیں. قاسم کے جنازے پہ کیا درد کا منظر ہے. قاسم کے جنازے پہ کیا درد کا منظر ہے. شاہ کہتے تھے اے قاسم کیوں تجھ کو اجل آئی. شاہ کہتے تھے اے قاسم کیوں تجھ کو اجل آئی. سینے میں میرے بیٹا سینے میں میرے بیٹا ایک درد کا خنجر ہے. قاسم کے جنازے پہ کیا درد کا منظر ہے. قاسم کے جنازے پہ کیا درد کا منظر ہے. ریحان ذرا سوچو لاشیں تو 72 ہیں. ریحان ذرا سوچو لاشیں تو 72 ہیں. رونے کے لیے تنہا آئے رونے کے لیے تنہا شبیر کی خواہر ہے. قاسم کے جنازے پہ کیا درد کا منظر ہے. قاسم کے جنازے پہ کیا درد کا منظر ہے. کیا درد کا منظر ہے. پر محمد وآل محمد صلوات اللہم صلی علی محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. We pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with his choicest of blessings and mercies accepts this small ibadah, this small offering of good gestures and good amal, inshallah. We pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keeps everyone that's watching safe and sound at home, and that he protects you from the very many trials and tribulations of this time, including the trials and tribulations of coronavirus as well. And inshallah, we pray that may all of you at home go from strength to strength, upholding the true azah of Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wasalam. Please recite Surah Al-Fatiha, but before that, the loudest of salawats.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وأجل فرجهم أجمعين. Ya Qasim, Ya Qasim, Ya Qasim. May Allah's curse be on the killers of Hazrat Qasim. May Allah's curse be on the killers of all the martyrs of Karbala. Oh Allah, please accept tonight's Majlis. Oh Bibi Umme Farwa, please accept our cries. We are sorry, oh Bibi. How hard it must have been for you to see your son in that condition. Oh Imam Mehdi, please accept tonight's Majlis. Please forgive our mistakes and shortcomings. We want to be among your companions, O Imam Mehdi. We want to learn how to be as brave as Hazrat Qasim. Please reach out to us, O our Imam. Oh Hazrat Abbas, you train Hazrat Qasim. Who is going to train us for Imam Mehdi? Please train us too. Please guide us. So we also are among the companions of Imam Mehdi. Ya Hazrat Abbas, Ya Hazrat Abbas. Please recite salawat for the well-being of Hazrat Tijani. I'm sorry for the well-being of Abbas Tijani, for the effort he put in tonight's Majlis. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farajahum ajma'in. Dear children, dear sisters and brothers, dear parents, this brings us to the end of tonight's Majlis. Tomorrow is Friday. I would request all of you, dear children, to please do the ghusl of Friday and make the intention of Friday ghusl qurbatan illallah. And also make the intention that on this Friday in the month of Muharram, may Allah purify us, purify our souls as well. Let's all put our hands together and say Ilahi Ameen on the following. May Allah accept all of your efforts, your cry and love for Imam Hussain. Ilahi Ameen. May Allah give health to all of us and take us out of this virus. Ilahi Ameen. May Allah give Kamil Iman, complete faith to all of us. Ilahi Ameen. May Allah forgive our sins and mistakes. And may Allah give us the opportunity to visit all the holy shrines of all Mahsumeen alayhim as-salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Please recite Surah Fatiha and 3 times Surah Tawheed for all the marhumin. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. Guide us on the true path, O Allah. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. لبيك يا حسين لبيك يا حسين. التماس دعاء everyone. خدا